nightmare for every woman in America. Who is the man next to you tonight? Who is he, really? Donna Foray found out the hard way in the garden behind her house. Doug Bruckner has the story.
A lot of his behavior led me to believe that he was the only one that knew where Connie was. When he put up the greenhouse where he did, it was like, to me, he just told me, Connie's right here. I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt he killed her, and he meant to kill her.
Lockport, Louisiana, a small town in the humid bayou country outside New Orleans, far off the beaten path, a world unto its own, where folks speak the magical Cajun dialect, where roads are named after the families who live alongside them, and where everyone knows their neighbors. Connie and Dale Gaudet lived in this house on Bourgeois Street with their 2 little girls. Dale was a known charmer, but everyone thought of him as a family man. Connie lived only for her family. But even here in the peaceful bayou country, everything is not what it seems. Connie never let on to her mother and sister that her marriage was troubled, that Dale was unfaithful.
I think she was the type of person that wouldn't have wanted to worry me or her dad. And, I mean, Lord knows she could have came back here any time.
Yes, down at the department store where he worked, Dale fell for a pretty divorcee named Donna Foray. Donna had been unlucky at love before, but she let herself go when Dale assured her he was in the middle of a divorce.
I thought he was telling me the truth. On occasion, Connie would come into the store with the children. I didn't know they still lived together. I didn't know they were married.
Any doubts Donna had about the state of Dale's marriage were dispelled when Dale called her to his house one February night.
And when I got there, he told me that she had left. She was gone for good this time, that he had given her $20,000 so she could set up her life with her boyfriend she supposedly had.
With Connie gone, Dale was free to marry Donna. It seemed everyone was happy except for Connie's side of the family. They couldn't believe she'd take off without telling anyone, especially not without her daughters. But soon after she left, a letter from Connie arrived in the mail. Police, at least, believed it was written by the missing woman.
Would you tell us what was in the letter?
Basically that, you know, not to worry about it, that Dale was a good father and he was going to take care of the kids, and that she needed to do more in her life, or something to that effect.
Connie was gone a year when Dale took Donna Foray as his bride. He moved Donna and her little girl into the house on Bourgeois Street.
He seemed to worship me and hoped that all our wishes could come true.
With their new marriage, Dale planted a new garden of roses. Dale spent many hours working there. But as his garden flourished, Donna says she was horrified to watch Dale fall apart. The first signs were in his fists.
When he punched me in the face, I knew that there was no way it would ever work, regardless of how much I loved him.
And then things turned positively strange. Donna remembers the weird incidents in what was turning into a nightmare on Bourgeois Street. Their formerly happy home seemed to be haunted by Connie's ghost.
Several times I overheard Dale in the bathroom.
What was he saying?
He was telling Connie he was sorry.
2 years after her wedding, Donna moved out, fearful of Dale's anger. She said she was always aware he was keeping an eye on her, so she never told anyone what she suspected about Connie's fate.
The evening I left Dale, he told me to never go to his family and tell them why I was leaving. That if I did, I would regret it.
I have always had the little glimmer of hope that maybe she was under a lot of stress, or was really possibly mentally upset with something, and she may have maybe gone a little crazy. We were kind of hoping for that. At least she would be alive. But deep down inside, we knew that she was no longer with us.
No one would have known the truth had not Dale decided to sell his house a year and a half ago. Jerry and Monica Knight bought the place. They were hometown kids who'd returned from the big city to start a family. The house on Bourgeois Street seemed the perfect starter house.
Didn't want to move to Houston, New Orleans, so we decided to come back home, and it was nice and quiet home.
Too bad for Dale, the Knights had to tear up the backyard to put in a septic tank. Dale's prize rose garden was unearthed in the process, and that's when Jerry Knight found what had been hidden under the roses for 8 long years.
When I came out to clean up the debris in the yard and level out my yard, I stumbled across a bone in the rear of the yard.
There, in the backyard, under the rose garden, were the remains of Connie Gaudet.
How do you feel about the trial so far? I don't have any comment. No comment?
Dale Gaudet was arrested for Connie's murder. As it turned out, the star witness against him was his second wife, Donna.
As I looked at him, I could see parts of the man I used to love very dearly. But then, at the same time, there was this stranger sitting here that had done all these ungodly things to me, to his children, to his first wife.
At trial, the prosecutor had little to go on but Donna's words and the remains of Connie. But it was more than enough.
What's up, Dale? How you making it, man?
That's fine.
That's good.
The trial lasted a week and a day, but it took the jury only 2.5 hours to convict him of second-degree murder. This week, he was sentenced to life in prison. There is only sadness for Connie's family now. They know she never wrote that final letter, but they have some peace knowing Connie is at rest and has been avenged.
Although we had prepared ourselves for 7.5 years, when the word came over the telephone, it was terrible to hear that.
Today, Dale's second wife, Donna, lives in town. She has her own garden now, and she often goes there to escape, but is only reminded of the horror hidden all that time beneath the garden of her marriage.
If the sun's shining and then there's just a very, very gentle breeze that'll pass by, it'll trigger the memory of being there in the garden, in the roses, in the greenhouse. And I'll just find something to do to kind of get rid of the tension it causes, and I go on.
The rose is so often used as a symbol of beauty, it's easy to forget about the thorns. Now, a mystery in Southern California. Denise